Ancient electrical device. In 1936, workers excavating near Baghdad discovered a clay jar that would challenge everything we know about ancient technology. Inside the 2,000-year-old vessel was a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and evidence of acidic liquid. When scientists examined it, they realized what they were looking at: an ancient battery created over 1,800 years before electricity was supposedly discovered. The jar was found in ruins dating to around 200 BCE. It stood about 5 inches tall, sealed with asphalt. Inside, a copper cylinder surrounded an iron rod. Chemical analysis showed it had once contained an acidic substance, likely vinegar or wine. When a researcher recognized the configuration as identical to a modern battery, he built a replica using materials available in ancient Mesopotamia. He filled it with grape juice as the electrolyte. The device produced electrical current, approximately 1.1 to 2 volts. The ancient jar wasn't just similar to a battery by coincidence. It was a functional electrical device. If ancient civilizations possessed batteries, what were they powering? Ancient texts from the region described divine lights that burned without flame in temple sanctuaries. Metal artifacts from the same period show evidence of electroplating, a process requiring electrical current. Multiple similar devices have been discovered in the same region, all following the same design. The consistency suggests intentional construction for a specific purpose, not accidental resemblance to modern batteries. Mainstream archaeology struggles to explain the discovery. The official position is that the jars stored scrolls, despite the copper cylinders being sealed and unsuitable for such purpose. Proposals to analyze residue for evidence of electrochemical reactions have been rejected. The few scientists who've attempted serious investigation have found their work blocked. Most disturbing is what happened to the original artifacts. Many were housed in museums where they were damaged or disappeared during conflict in 2003. The most complete specimens that could have definitively proven the battery hypothesis are now lost. The ancient battery represents everything uncomfortable about out-of-place artifacts. It's real, measurable, can be replicated, and it shouldn't exist according to our historical timeline. Precision stone drilling. Scattered across Egypt are stone artifacts displaying drilling techniques that shouldn't have been possible for ancient civilizations. Drill holes in granite, among the hardest stones on Earth, show evidence of high-speed machining and cutting speeds that exceed what can be achieved with bronze tools. The precision suggests machinery more advanced than anything supposedly available. The most puzzling examples are core samples extracted when drill holes were made. These cores show distinctive spiral grooves with consistent pitch, indicating the drill advanced into solid granite at approximately 1 inch per revolution. A feed rate impossible with hand tools and difficult even with modern equipment. Engineers who've examined the cores note that the spiral grooves have regular, even spacing, evidence of mechanical drilling at consistent speed and pressure. Hand drilling produces irregular grooves because pressure and speed vary. The ancient cores show no such variation, suggesting mechanical precision. The drill holes are perfectly circular and maintain consistent diameter throughout their depth. Any wobble or misalignment would cause the hole to widen. The ancient holes show no such defects. They're as precisely aligned as modern machine-drilled holes. What makes this remarkable is the stone's hardness. Granite has a hardness rating of 6 or 7 on the Mohs scale. Copper and bronze tools available to ancient Egyptians have ratings of only 3 to 4. According to materials science, you cannot cut a material with a tool softer than the material itself. The standard explanation is copper tools with sand as abrasive, but experiments attempting to replicate ancient drilling using this method have failed. Modern researchers achieve feed rates of only a few millimeters per hour. The ancient cores show feed rates over 10 times faster. One researcher noted another anomaly. The grooves cut equally deep through both quartz and feldspar crystals in granite. These minerals have different hardness levels. Hand drilling would cut softer feldspar faster, creating uneven grooves. The ancient grooves are perfectly even, suggesting a cutting process that worked equally well on both minerals, like modern diamond-tipped drilling. Modern stoneworkers admit they'd be difficult to replicate even with contemporary equipment. Creating perfectly circular, precisely aligned holes in granite requires sophisticated machinery. How ancient craftsmen achieved comparable results remains unexplained. Prehistoric metal spheres. Deep in South African mines, workers have discovered hundreds of metallic spheres and rock layers dating back 2.8 billion years, long before complex life existed on Earth. The spheres are perfectly round, some with precise parallel grooves encircling them, made from a nickel-steel alloy that doesn't occur naturally. They shouldn't exist, yet they continue to be found. The spheres were first discovered in the 1980s in mineral deposits. Workers excavating rock found metallic spheres embedded in stone. The rock formations were dated to 2.8 billion years old using standard geological methods. The spheres measure roughly 1 to 4 inches in diameter. Many are perfectly spherical with surface smoothness suggesting artificial manufacture. Most remarkably, several have 3 parallel grooves running around their equator, precise, evenly spaced lines that appear machined. When geologists examined them, they expected to find a natural explanation. But analysis revealed they were composed of nickel-steel alloy. This metal combination doesn't occur naturally in the geological environment where they were found. Steel is an alloy requiring smelting, a technological process. The depth at which the spheres were found rules out recent contamination. They were embedded in solid rock, often dozens of feet below the surface, in formations undisturbed for billions of years. Museum curators note their remarkably consistent size and shape. Natural geological formations show variation. These spheres display consistency suggesting manufacture to specific dimensions. The parallel grooves particularly defy natural explanation. Geological processes don't create precise, evenly spaced parallel lines. The spheres are extremely hard, significantly harder than surrounding rock. The metal composition and hardness don't match any known mineral that could have formed naturally. The age of the rock presents an insurmountable problem. The formations are 2.8 billion years old, formed when Earth's atmosphere lacked oxygen, when only primitive bacteria existed, over 2 billion years before multicellular organisms evolved. Humans wouldn't appear for another 2.8 billion years. The official position is that the spheres must be natural formations, despite all evidence to the contrary. Museums display them as geological anomalies, without explaining what geological process could have created them. Miners continue discovering new spheres regularly from deep within ancient rock. Each discovery comes from stone that hasn't been disturbed for billions of years. The accumulating evidence makes natural formation increasingly implausible. Ancient astronomical computer. In 1901, divers recovered a corroded bronze mechanism from an ancient shipwreck off Greece. For decades it sat in museums, dismissed as a simple navigational device. Then, X-ray analysis revealed the truth. Inside was a complex system of over 30 interlocking gears, performing astronomical calculations that shouldn't have been possible for another 1,500 years. The shipwreck was dated to approximately 60 BCE. The bronze mechanism initially appeared to be a corroded lump of no importance. In the 1950s, X-rays revealed something extraordinary: intricate interlocking bronze gears, precisely cut teeth, and mechanical assemblies of remarkable complexity. Further analysis revealed over 30 separate gear wheels, with teeth so fine they could barely be seen without magnification. The gears were arranged in complex trains, multiple gears working together to perform mathematical calculations. The design demonstrated understanding of differential gearing, a technique that wouldn't be reinvented until the 16th century. Researchers determined what the device calculated: positions of the sun, moon, and planets, predictions of eclipses, and dates of Olympic Games. It was an astronomical calculator. Users turned a crank, and the gears computed celestial positions for any given date. When engineers studied the gear ratios, they found the gears represented astronomical ratios discovered by ancient Greek astronomers. The mechanism encoded sophisticated mathematical understanding of celestial mechanics. The precision of gear cutting demonstrates both theoretical knowledge and manufacturing capability far beyond what historians believed ancient Greeks possessed. The miniaturization is particularly striking. The gears are small and densely packed, requiring precision manufacturing techniques. Creating gears with such fine teeth requires sophisticated metalworking equipment, machines supposedly unavailable for another 1,000 years. Modern attempts to reconstruct the mechanism using ancient tools have struggled. Creating gears with necessary precision is extremely difficult without modern machine tools. The device proves ancient civilizations possess technological capabilities that subsequent cultures lost and wouldn't rediscover for over a millennium. Medieval Europe would have considered this mechanism impossibly advanced, yet it was created in ancient Greece and casually used on a merchant ship. The archaeological establishment treats the mechanism as a unique anomaly, but ancient Greek texts mention mechanical devices and automated machines. The shipwreck mechanism might not be unique. It might simply be the only one that survived. How much ancient technology was lost because mechanisms corroded into unrecognizable lumps or were melted down? Mapmakers' impossible knowledge. In 1929, scholars discovered an ancient map in a Turkish palace that would challenge everything historians believed about early exploration. The map, drawn in 1513, showed the coastline of Antarctica, a continent that wouldn't be discovered for another 300 years. Even more impossibly, it depicted Antarctica without ice, showing mountain ranges and rivers buried under mile-thick glaciers for over 6,000 years. The map was created by an Ottoman naval commander based on older source maps. His notations indicate he compiled information from approximately 20 ancient charts. What he created showed geographical knowledge that supposedly didn't exist in the 16th century. The most controversial feature is the southern continent. The coastline matches Antarctica with remarkable accuracy, not as it appears today under ice, but as it would look without ice coverage. The map shows bays, inlets, and coastal features currently under thousands of feet of ice, not discovered until the 1950s using seismic surveys. When researchers compared the map to modern surveys, they found something extraordinary. The coastline details matched, but the projection was unusual, as if created using azimuthal equidistant projection centered on Cairo. This projection requires spherical trigonometry and sophisticated mathematical knowledge. The accuracy extends beyond Antarctica. The map shows the Mediterranean, North Africa, South America, and Atlantic islands with remarkable precision. Relative positions of continents are correct. Latitudes are accurate. Even small Caribbean islands are positioned correctly. Most disturbing is what the map implies about ice-free Antarctica. If the map shows Antarctica from a period with less ice coverage, roughly 6,000 years ago, it means the source maps were created by a civilization capable of sophisticated maritime exploration and cartography 6,000 years ago, over 2,000 years before ancient Egypt. When the map was analyzed by cartographers in the 1950s, they were baffled. The United States Air Force Cartographic Section confirmed the map showed Antarctica's coastline with accuracy comparable to modern surveys. They had no explanation for how a 16th century map could contain this information. The creator's own notations state he compiled the map from ancient sources. He specifically mentions using very old maps, some from the time of Alexander the Great. This suggests he had access to sources preserving geographic knowledge from antiquity, knowledge far more accurate than historians believed possible. If the source maps showed ice-free Antarctica, they were created during a narrow window thousands of years ago. This requires a civilization capable of maritime exploration, navigation, surveying, and cartography at sophistication levels supposedly not achieved until the age of exploration. Mainstream historians dismiss the map's implications. When pressed about the remarkable accuracy confirmed by modern surveys, they suggest the mapmaker made lucky guesses. The evidence is ignored rather than explained. Stone chamber acoustics. Hidden in ancient ruins are stone chambers engineered with acoustic properties so sophisticated they wouldn't be duplicated until modern concert hall design. These rooms amplify specific frequencies, eliminate echoes, and create sound effects that require understanding of wave physics. The precision suggests advanced acoustic engineering, knowledge that supposedly didn't exist thousands of years ago. The chambers are typically small rooms carved from solid rock or constructed with precisely fitted stone blocks. What makes them extraordinary is their acoustic behavior, properties only discovered when researchers began conducting tests. One studied example is a chamber carved entirely from limestone. When researchers tested the acoustics, they discovered the chamber resonates strongly at exactly 110 Hz, a specific, precise frequency. The resonance is so strong that when played, the entire room vibrates perceptibly. Modern acoustic engineers analyzing the chamber found its design shouldn't work according to known acoustic principles. Yet it produces effects requiring sophisticated understanding of sound wave behavior. Creating this acoustic response by accident would be extraordinarily unlikely. The frequency is particularly interesting because research shows 110 Hz affects brain activity. EEG measurements of people exposed to this frequency show changes in brainwave patterns, increased activity in areas associated with emotion and altered consciousness. Were ancient designers aware of these neurological effects? Other chambers show different but equally sophisticated properties. Some amplify sound, allowing whispers to be heard across large distances. Others eliminate echoes completely. Some selectively amplify certain frequencies while dampening others. Natural filtering requiring complex acoustic engineering. In one chamber, researchers discovered the room responds differently to male and female voices, amplifying male frequencies while dampening female ones. Creating this selective response requires understanding of frequency ranges and harmonic filtering, the kind of sophisticated design found in modern concert halls. The precision of construction suggests acoustic properties were a primary design consideration. Walls are carved to exact smoothness. Angles are precise. Dimensions follow specific proportions. This is engineered construction aimed at achieving particular acoustic behaviors. Modern attempts to replicate the acoustic properties have struggled. Engineers using computer modeling and modern construction techniques find it difficult to match the effects ancient chambers produce. What's puzzling is how ancient builders would have discovered and tested these properties. Creating chambers with specific resonant frequencies requires understanding the relationship between room dimensions, materials, and sound wavelengths. The chambers also show evidence of acoustic isolation from surrounding spaces, thick walls or air gaps preventing sound transfer. Modern recording studios use similar techniques, but ancient builders supposedly lacked theoretical knowledge to understand why such isolation was necessary. Precision crystal artifacts. Scattered across ancient sites are crystal and quartz objects carved with precision that modern gem cutters struggle to match. These aren't crude carvings, they're optically perfect lenses, precisely shaped spheres, and artifacts machined to tolerances measured in micrometers. Yet ancient craftsmen created crystal objects displaying perfection that suggests advanced machining technology. Quartz crystal has a hardness of 7 on the Mohs scale, harder than any metal available to ancient civilizations. Working quartz requires tools harder than quartz itself. Modern gem cutters use diamond-tipped tools and high-speed rotary equipment. What makes ancient crystal artifacts remarkable is the absence of tool marks. Modern analysis reveals surfaces polished to optical quality, perfectly smooth at microscopic level, free from scratches or polishing striations. Achieving this requires specific techniques and equipment supposedly unavailable in the ancient world. One researcher studying ancient crystal artifacts discovered some objects showed evidence of rotary cutting, with perfectly circular cuts and consistent widths. The cuts were too precise for hand tools. The evidence suggested machines, power tools rotating at consistent speeds. Crystal spheres present another mystery. Multiple ancient cultures created perfectly spherical quartz objects. Creating a perfect sphere from hard crystal requires extremely precise material removal. Ancient spheres examined under precision measurement show sphericity within tolerances that challenge modern manufacturing. Modern gem cutters attempting to replicate ancient crystal artifacts using only hand tools and ancient abrasives have failed to match the precision. What they create shows tool marks and irregularities. The ancient artifacts show none of these characteristics. Some crystal artifacts show internal features, suggesting even more advanced capabilities, precisely carved internal channels and suspended features that required selective material removal from inside solid crystal without damaging surrounding areas. The optical quality of some ancient crystal objects is particularly remarkable. crystal lenses showing correct spherical curvature for focusing light, have optical surfaces precisely shaped and polished to eliminate distortion. When researchers examine these lenses under laboratory conditions, they find optical properties matching modern precision lenses. The curvature is correct for focal length. The surface finish eliminates distortion. These are precision optical components manufactured to exacting specifications. The manufacturing precision suggests knowledge of crystal structure and working properties. Ancient crystal artifacts show evidence that craftsmen understood and worked with crystal properties, suggesting sophisticated material science knowledge. The official explanation for crystal artifact precision is patience and skill. Ancient craftsmen had time and developed extraordinary abilities through practice. But this explanation ignores physical limitations. No amount of patience creates microscopically perfect surfaces when working quartz with softer materials. Ancient concrete formula. Roman structures built 2,000 years ago remain standing today, while modern concrete structures begin crumbling after 50 years. The Romans created concrete that grows stronger over time, especially in seawater, a property modern engineers can't replicate. The technology was lost for over a millennium and has only recently begun to be understood. The most remarkable examples are Roman harbor structures, piers and breakwaters that have withstood 2,000 years of seawater exposure. Modern marine concrete typically begins degrading within decades. Roman marine concrete has actually grown stronger, with mineral crystals growing through the structure, filling cracks and reinforcing the material. When geologists examined Roman marine concrete under microscopes, they discovered ongoing chemical reactions, mineral formation occurring over centuries that strengthened the structure. Seawater, reacting with volcanic ash and lime, created new crystalline structures that bound the material together more tightly. Modern concrete is precisely controlled with exact formulations, yet it's fundamentally weaker than ancient Roman concrete. Modern concrete cracks over time and degrades especially rapidly in seawater. The key to Roman concrete's properties is the reaction between volcanic ash, lime, and seawater. The volcanic ash contains reactive minerals that undergo slow pozzolanic reactions, creating crystals that grow through the structure over centuries, continuously reinforcing it. What makes this impressive is the implications for ancient materials science. Romans deliberately selected volcanic ash from specific locations, used particular types of lime, and added mineral aggregates. This required understanding of material properties, suggesting sophisticated empirical research. Perhaps most frustrating for modern engineers is the environmental benefit. Roman concrete production required lower temperatures than modern Portland cement, resulting in significantly lower carbon emissions while producing superior material. Modern attempts to recreate Roman concrete using ancient formulas have had mixed success. Recent research has produced concrete that begins showing self-healing properties, but achieving full strength and durability requires precise conditions the Romans apparently knew through practical experience. The loss of Roman concrete technology represents one of history's most significant technological regressions. For over a millennium after Rome's fall, European builders couldn't create structures approaching Roman quality. Modern rediscovery of Roman concrete chemistry has only occurred through advanced analytical techniques, scanning electron microscopy, X-ray diffraction, chemical analysis at molecular level. Ancient Romans achieved the same results through empirical research and practical knowledge. Miniature golden airplanes. Archaeologists investigating pre-Columbian sites discovered small golden objects resembling modern aircraft. The artifacts showed streamlined fuselages, triangular wings with upward-angled tips, and vertical tail stabilizers. Aeronautical engineers who examined them concluded the objects displayed principles of aircraft design. The artifacts are 1,000 years old, created centuries before human flight. Yet, scaled-up models, when tested, fly. The objects were initially cataloged as zoomorphic, representations of animals, possibly stylized birds. Then an aeronautical engineer noticed something unusual. The objects didn't resemble any known animal, they resembled aircraft. What caught his attention were specific design features. Wings positioned at the center of the fuselage for balance, exactly where aircraft wings are placed. The triangular wing shape with upward angled tips, dihedral angle, provides flight stability, a feature used in modern aircraft. The vertical tail stabilizer was positioned correctly for directional control. The proportions were equally telling. The ratio of wing area to fuselage length, the position of center of gravity, the nose shape, all followed aerodynamic principles. To test his theory, the engineer built scaled-up models following exact proportions of the ancient objects. When tested in wind tunnels, the models showed excellent flight characteristics, stable, controllable, and aerodynamically efficient. The models were then equipped with small engines and tested in actual flight. They flew well, straight, stable, and responsive to controls. The ancient designs weren't just sculptures that happened to resemble aircraft. They were accurate representations of functional flying machines. Critics argued the similarity to aircraft was coincidental, but this explanation struggles with the specificity of design features. The dihedral wing angle, the position of wings relative to center of gravity, the vertical stabilizer, each is a specific design choice that improves flight performance. The cultural context adds another layer of mystery. The civilizations that created these objects had myths about flying machines and sky gods. Ancient texts describe vehicles that flew through the air. Were these purely mythological or memories of actual flying machines? The official archaeological position remains that the objects represent stylized animals, but this dismissal ignores the functional aerodynamic features and successful flight tests of scaled-up models. 10. Nuclear reactor fossils. In 1972, scientists analyzing uranium ore from an African mine discovered something impossible. The uranium showed signs of nuclear fission. The isotope ratios indicated nuclear chain reactions had occurred naturally 2 billion years ago. But further analysis revealed something even more extraordinary. The reactor showed evidence of design, specific geometries and mineral distributions that optimized the nuclear reaction. The discovery occurred during routine analysis. When technicians measured isotope ratios, they found the uranium was depleted in U-235, the fissile isotope used in reactors. Investigation revealed the depletion occurred naturally through a process that shouldn't have been possible. The uranium ore deposits had served as natural nuclear reactors approximately 2 billion years ago. The concentration of uranium, presence of water as moderator, and arrangement of ore bodies created conditions allowing sustained nuclear chain reactions. When geologists studied the reactor zones, they discovered something remarkable. The nuclear reactions showed patterns suggesting optimization. The ore bodies were arranged in geometries that sustained reactions while preventing criticality accidents. Surrounding rock formations contained minerals that absorbed neutrons, controlling reaction rates. Most extraordinary were signs the reactors operated in cycles. Reactions would run until heat built up, evaporating water and stopping the chain reaction. As rock cooled, water would seep back and the reaction would restart. This cycle repeated over hundreds of thousands of years, operating intermittently but never going critical. The geometry of reactor zones particularly puzzled scientists. The uranium ore formed specific shapes and arrangements. Some zones were cylindrical, others were layered. The configurations were optimal for sustaining controlled nuclear reactions. Surrounding each reactor zone were minerals serving specific functions. Graphite deposits acted as neutron reflectors. Boron-containing minerals absorbed excess neutrons. Clay layers provided containment. Each element served a purpose in maintaining controlled fission. The sophistication astonished nuclear engineers. Creating nuclear reactors requires careful calculation of criticality, neutron flux, moderation, and control. The natural formations achieved all of these through geological arrangement that seems almost designed. Some researchers have proposed the reactors weren't entirely natural, that an ancient civilization deliberately constructed or modified the ore deposits. This explanation is dismissed as impossible, since the reactors operated 2 billion years ago. But the alternative, that nature randomly created optimized nuclear reactor geometries, seems equally improbable. The official position remains that the reactors were entirely natural phenomena. But nuclear engineers who've studied the formations often express quiet doubt. The configurations are too perfect. the control mechanisms too sophisticated. These 10 artifacts share one characteristic: they shouldn't exist. Each object displays technology or knowledge that doesn't fit our understanding of when such things were developed. They're physical evidence challenging the narrative of linear technological progress. The artifacts aren't ambiguous. They're real objects that can be measured and analyzed. The ancient battery produces current. The precision drilling shows machining accuracy. The astronomical computer contains functional gear trains. Each represents concrete evidence that ancient civilizations possessed capabilities we don't understand. What's particularly significant is how these discoveries are handled. The artifacts aren't denied. They're in museums, described in papers, acknowledged to exist. But their implications are minimized or explained away rather than seriously investigated. The pattern is consistent: dismiss as hoax, then claim significance is overstated, then suggest natural phenomena or accidents, then stop investigating. What's rarely done is thorough, open-minded investigation following evidence wherever it leads. These artifacts raise profound questions about lost knowledge. Roman concrete was superior to modern cement, yet was lost for over a millennium. The astronomical computer represented sophistication unseen for 1,500 years. How much other knowledge was lost? Perhaps human history isn't steady progression from primitive to advanced, but a series of rises and falls, with knowledge gained and lost multiple times. These artifacts might be surviving evidence of previous peaks in the cycle. The refusal to seriously investigate is itself telling. Science claims to follow evidence and remain open to unexpected findings. Yet artifacts challenging established timelines face institutional resistance. The message is clear: some questions are better left unasked. These 10 objects prove ancient civilizations were more sophisticated than we've believed. They had capabilities we don't understand. They possessed knowledge that was lost and had to be rediscovered. The question isn't whether these artifacts are genuine. Most have been confirmed. The question is what we're willing to accept about our past. These objects exist. They're wrong for their time period, and they're waiting for someone brave enough to honestly investigate what they mean.